Welcome back to the Kicks Business channel. We are starting the year a little bit later than normal, but I have a very interesting pair of Reebok pumps in my possession that I'm going to show you today. And these released towards the end of last year. I just didn't have a time to review them so far. I finally changed studios, so I have a little bit of a cleaner background. My idea is to put some sneakers in display behind me so you guys can see some of my vintage collection, some of my rare collection, and I'll be changing them around throughout the months so you guys can see all the sneakers I have, and it will be easier for me to create some collection videos that have been requested for a while. Now, without further ado, we're gonna look at this beautiful pair of Reebok Pump Omni Zone 2. And like I mentioned, these released towards the end of last year. A lot of people actually bought these. I bought them myself as well. There was a nice sale at Reebok for, I think, 50 or 60% off. So I grabbed these ones and a couple of other pairs that I'm gonna show you in separate videos. But I'm so glad I got these, and I was not wrong for what I've seen from pictures, because this is one of the highest quality made retro sneaker that I've seen in the last couple of years. And I quickly will point you out your attention to why I'm stating that, because Reebok did pretty much everything right with this shoe. The most important thing here is they put genuine materials where genuine materials matter and where it is supposed to be, right on the toe box. And the toe box, it's probably the highest quality, thick, genuine leather that I have seen in the last year, honestly. And you guys probably hear me saying this throughout many videos reviewing sneakers, but this is really, really thick cut. And you guys are gonna see them on the close-ups, how nice and wrinkly it looks, how soft it is, and how thick it is. And this is how sneakers were made back in the day. I'm really not upset about the side panels or the back side where it's all synthetic, because this is not gonna crease. This is not, you're not gonna bend it. You're not gonna do any of that stuff. Where the toe box really matters is having genuine leather, because when you wear them, they're gonna crease, and the more they crease, the more beautiful they look. In my mind, I always liked how crease shoes look like, and these will look amazing, and I'll be wearing these without any problems. Other things to mention right here, the colorway is absolutely amazing. I've heard a lot of people referring to these as the New York Knicks colorway. I mean, I kind of see the resemblance, but at the same time, they can be any kind of sneaker from back in the day. That specific colorway did not existed, but it fits perfectly in the narrative of the retro, because these kind of simple 2-3 colors mixture were very popular back in the day. I mean, it can be the Sixers, it can be the Knicks, it can be a lot of other teams. Personally, I really don't care. I just like how clean this sneaker looks. This is perfect. It's gonna look great on feet. It's gonna look great wearing them with anything you think of, shorts, jeans, whatever you want to do. And I'm so glad that Reebok finally brought the branding and the name in almost entirely the same structure of the shoe as we know it as Omni Zone 2. Gone are the days of the Omni Light, which, yes, those of you that know, and those of you that have been with my channels for a while, you know that this was the Light was the original kind of a pre-production name of the shoe. But I like retail versions. I like what I've seen back in the day in the stores when I was in high school, when I fell in love with these shoes, and they were the Omni Zone 2. Now, if we look at the insoles, these are at least the Reebok athletic insoles with the exaggerated arc and the Reebok branding. Honestly, I really like these insoles. I find them to be very comfortable. They're very reminiscent to what those insoles were back in the day when the shoes released, and they're not your typical very cheap cutout insole that I've seen in plenty of other sneakers, including the Questions. So I prefer these Reebok athletic insoles. Nothing fancy on them. We just have Reebok and the Pump branding on the heel, just like the original one. And the production date of these is April of last year. Man, it's gonna be almost a year since these were produced. Interesting. A couple of other great things, minor details that a lot of people will not notice, but personally I notice immediately. The branding, Reebok and basketball on the ton are stitched in just like it was back in the day. The Hexalite branding on the heel, it's stitched in. It's not painted, again, just like it was back in the day. And another huge to me detail is they actually added, despite the fact that they have the printed sizing and information right on the tongue, they added the little tag on the size of the tongue with the sizing again, where it's made, and with the Pump branding. This is how the sizing was represented back in the day when you bought these shoes. There was no sticker in, there was no heat press or anything like that. It was stitched in like that on the side of the tongue, and this is how you saw the sizing. So it's kind of double work, but I like this detail, and I really applaud Reebok for doing this kind of small details that actually bring the memories to people like me and a lot of you guys. They've been with the brand for the last 30 years or more. Personally, I have been for over 30 years now. And just like the other Omni Zones, they did a great job with the midsole. It's very soft. It's much softer polyurethane than it was on the original pair. I remember the original pair being very dense. In Omni-Lite releases over the past 10, 12, 15 years, the midsole has been very dense as well. Of course, we don't have original Hexalite, but how soft the midsole is, the comfort is there. And one of the small omission right here is the stitching on the toe buck. It's just mimicking stitching. It's part of the mold now. It's not real stitching, so keep that in mind. On feet, from a distance, it looks legit, but to people like me, I would have loved to see some real stitching, but maybe they would increase the price. So I'll take some things when they're offered, and some things that are not there, I can live with, no problem. Now, of course, the biggest elephant in the room here is the pumps working. So you really have to put some effort on those pumps to get some air inside. So I would say they are working, but are they flawless? Absolutely not. Previous models, they were released back in 2012, 2013. Almost every single shoe I had, the pumps were working, including the Omni Zone 1 that was released back then, all the Shack Attacks, all the other ones, the pumps were working, no problem. With these, again, you're gonna have a workout on your thumb trying to pump, trying to get any air inside. And you can hear a small hiss from the air coming out, but it's not gonna be what you're expecting. So take this one with the way it is. Last detail for me, and this is just like all the other Omni Zones that they release, the inner liner grooves on the close-up, so you guys are gonna see it. The inner liner grooves are vertical, and the original pair, they are horizontal. So horizontal meant when you put your sock down and you tighten up, they were kind of gripping on your sock, so they were hard to pull out, and they were providing more containment. They were very good performance basketball shoes, and that liner was very nice. I remember it just like yesterday, how great it looked. They brought the exact same texture, but this one is just vertical, not horizontal. So you guys are gonna see them on feet. They look amazing. I think in my mind, this is probably one of the most iconic shoe that Reebok created back in the day. And I remember the early 90s because of designs like that created by Miss Judy Close, with technology, with promoting players in the NBA. These shoes were so popular. I think at that small period at the beginning of the 90s, they were surpassing Nike. And in my world, where I live in Europe, Reebok was always more popular than Nike because of all the technology. All of us kids at the time, everybody wanted to have a high-tech shoe. In other words, with more and more technology, and Reebok was all about with a pump, with a graphite, with a Hexalite, with all the other things they had, where Nike only had the air, and that was it. And yeah, if you're rich to have a lot of Nikes, great. But if you're poor like me and you buy a single pair of Nikes and you step on something and the air unit pops, you're done. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Hit the thumbs up if you like the video. Stay tuned to the channel. Subscribe if you're new. Check out all the videos coming out very soon. I'm gonna continue to build up the studio and make it a little bit more presentable so you guys can see my collection on display. And as always, guys, you have a wonderful day.